When humans disappear. Day 1, Silent Dawn. The morning sun still shines through the clouds, gently caressing the sleeping city. The once bustling streets are now only quiet, and the wind blows through the windows of the tall buildings, causing a faint tremor. Birds land on the empty streets, trying to peck at the helpless garbage piles. In the distance, the sound of running fire trucks and car engines disappears, leaving only fresh air and silent earth. The alternation of day and night continues, and the disappearance of human voices slows down the rhythm of the earth. Buildings are immersed in the dazzling sunlight, and their towering outlines are looming in the morning mist. Like a sleeping giant lying quietly in the valley, waiting for the earth to gently wake up. This is an unmanned dawn, and the world welcomes the first ray of dawn of rebirth in silence. When night falls, the streetlights automatically light up, but no one appreciates their soft light. The once bright neon lights gradually go out, and the electronic pulse disappears into the darkness. In this first sleepless night, the earth silently welcomes infinite tranquility and possibilities. Day 7, The Awakening of the Wild. A week passed, and the traces of human beings began to be forgotten. In the park, the grass and trees stretched their branches and leaves in the soil, and green moss grew on the rusty slide. A few rabbits walked cautiously in the empty streets, their eyes reflecting the collapsed billboards and rusted vehicles. In the distant sky, a group of hawks circled, and their sharp cries broke the silence of yesterday. Without human intervention, the wild vitality gradually emerged. In the street flower beds, unknown wildflowers bloomed wantonly, and butterflies and bees danced among the flowers. The cleaner's trash can overturned on the roadside, and the smell of corruption mixed with the fragrance of flowers intertwined in the air. The hustle and bustle that once belonged to the city has now become the whisper of the wind, and birds and animals are rewriting the chapter of this city. Small life has also begun to reproduce in the ruins. Rats crawled along the subway tunnel, and the squeaks of young animals echoed deep in the tunnel. Under the night, frogs croaked beside the clear fountain pool, playing a new movement of life. Month 1, A surge of vitality. A month later, the monsoon brought continuous rain, and the dormant land gradually woke up. In the cracks of the streets, weeds sprouted and turned green, outlining the outline of new life under the sun. Wildflowers grew spontaneously in the flower beds in the park, and golden dandelions scattered seeds in the wind. In the pet shop that was not closed, the small animals in the cages peeked at this strange world nervously, like explorers looking at the edge of the wilderness. The abandoned fountain flowed again, moss and floating algae multiplied at the outlet, and tiny fish and shrimp began to play in the pool. The sound of the wind brought the fragrance of flowers, and bees relied on their sense of smell to find sparse flowers, performing a dance of collecting honey for the paradise that had completely lost its owner. The earth was humming quietly, as if telling all things, here, there will be a world where they can sing freely. A few wild dogs wandered around the abandoned municipal square, as if guarding this wasteland. A flock of pigeons flew up from the base of the statue, and the flapping of their wings echoed in the empty city, like the last echo left by humans. Year 1, Season of Desolation. As the year goes by, spring, summer, autumn, and winter alternate, and plants win the battle against the dust. In the cracks of reinforced concrete, weeds sprout, and their roots cling to the mottled walls. Endless forests quietly gather at the edge of the city, and the shadows of the trees are stretched out by the dusk, and the tall pines and cypresses break through the cement on the roof. In the distance, the once noisy square has become a clearing in the forest for deer, quiet and full of vitality. The distant fields have also undergone tremendous changes. The abandoned farmland is overgrown with weeds, and the wheat waves have turned into green grasslands, with wild deer strolling leisurely between the rows of crops. In the harbor near the sea, rusty fishing boats overturned on the shore, and the fishing nets turned into the base of corals, nurturing new marine life. After a year of precipitation, memories gradually blurred. The remaining lights flickered with the last afterglow, the power grid collapsed, and the street lights fell into eternal darkness. Only the night sky is still brilliant, and the stars twinkle in the boundless universe, witnessing the changes of the world. There are no sounds of human footsteps here, only the music of wind blowing through the grass and streams singing. Year 10, forest spreads. 10 years have passed, and everything has grown wildly at the pace of nature. The old city has been swallowed up by dense forests. Tall banyan trees have grown through the asphalt of the parking lot, and thick vines have entangled broken walls and bricks. In the former supermarket, fruit trees have quietly taken root between the shelves, branches have poked out of the broken glass windows, and fruits have been scattered all over the ground, attracting flocks of birds and animals. The fountain in the center of the square has been dry for a long time, and wild chrysanthemums and orchids have emerged from the cracks in the pool, absorbing sunlight and dew. The animals are no longer afraid. Wolves move along the empty subway tracks and linger deep in the tunnels, their eyes reflecting the faint light from the train tracks. Under the night sky, the footprints of bears' paws cover the wilderness roads, and the figures of cheetahs pass by the street corners that once flashed neon lights. Without the noisy modern civilization, a natural prelude echoes in the woods at dawn. The waves beat against the former port docks, and new rivers open up their channels. Along this revitalized coastline, seabirds build cliff nests, majestic whales breach the horizon in the distance, and at dusk, the land once again echoes with the low hum of the waters, paying homage to the stars. Year 100, a deserted city revived. In the blink of an eye, the ruins left by the city have become a new paradise for nature. The tops of high-rise buildings are eroded by the land, steel frames are exposed from the cement, and time leaves mottled marks on the rust. On the streets, the endless green is golden in the sunset, and wild flowers and ferns occupy the broken walls. The river has been rerouted, forming a lake in the former city center, inhabited by unknown fish. The abandoned highway has become a river beach, and water birds have built nests in the cracks, and their songs echo in the air. In the abandoned library, the broken pages dance in the wind, as if telling ancient knowledge. In the deep corner, a squirrel is looking for scattered pine cones to store hibernation, as if time is quietly sealing the stories of the past. In the blank space of human beings, all things come back to life. In the abandoned garage, spider silk hangs in the corners, catching tiny flying insects. In the deserted factory, moss spreads a green carpet on the steel beams, and a group of wild deer quietly pace in the center of the factory. The wind blows through the cracks in the city wall and through the monuments embraced by wild grass, telling the silent story of time. At this moment, the earth composes the epic of life with its own colors and sounds. Year 1000, a new chapter in life. Over the past millennia, the earth has quietly reshaped itself. Dams and reservoirs, the man-made oceans of the past, have long since collapsed, and the rivers have begun to churn again. Low-lying city centers have disappeared, swallowed by forests and rivers, and green mountains and forests have covered the ancient streets. The remaining rails have finally rusted and broken, turning into wind chimes in the grasslands, ringing with the wind. The mountains and plains have also ushered in a new look. Volcanoes that have been dormant for thousands of years have erupted with brilliant lava, covering the earth with a layer of fertile black soil. At the foot of the volcano, tenacious mosses and ferns sprout in the cracks of the rocks, and the bleak surface is playing the prelude to rebirth. New species emerge in the wilderness, children of nature after millions of years of evolution. Groups of predators hover in the vast sky. They are huge, soaring in the wind, and shouting never heard before. Their sharp eyes penetrate the night, and their swift shadows pass over arches and bridge piers. On a certain peak, new spore plants are being born, which can absorb sunlight and rain like corals, forming a glowing ecological column. It is a forest beacon that emits a faint light, conveying unknown life messages to the world. Year 10,000, a new landscape. Over the past 10,000 years, the Earth has quietly transformed itself and is full of vitality. The former wasteland is now covered with dense dark green jungles, with ancient rivers winding through it, reflecting the afterglow of the setting sun. Time has settled on the ruins, and a dilapidated city is looming in the jungle. The broken roads have become gullies, the mottled statues are climbed by flower vines, and the outline of the city has been redrawn by nature. In this era without humans, the pulse of the earth is more magnificent. On the horizon, the mountains are reflected in the orange sunset, and hawks and petrels soar in the sky. Countless new species have taken root here. Colorful insects dance in the flowers, and huge reptiles crawl leisurely. At night, fireflies flicker with cold stars, illuminating the tranquility of the primitive forest. The miracle of science is lost, and the seeds of legend SPR.